Well, I want to hear about RC, man, your background and all that, you know. And,
Me too.
yeah.
Well, spent 17 years Marine Corps. Was a MP. 10 years as a constable in Arkansas. The reason I ended up giving both of those up is exactly what we're doing, exactly what we're filming out here. I got tired of seeing that from other officers, other constables, other deputies, and then while I was in the Corps, you have the other military police officers that were doing exactly what we're trying to expose. And I always had a problem with it because I'm reading our policies here. I'm reading certain state laws or city ordinances that, in my opinion, were completely going against the Constitution here. And I couldn't justify still putting that uniform on anymore. Going to work every day, wearing that uniform, supposedly upholding the oath that I took to this, and trying to enforce those other policies and laws. And I just couldn't do it anymore. So I got out of that, and I've been filming for a while, but I never published any of them until now. So just starting to go ahead and put them online. Been probably about a month or so. Been finally posting them.
You got some damn nice equipment on something that I saw that one you had on the tripod at the base the other day. That's badass, man.
Yeah, I got tired of every once in a while I would hear one of them mention that, well, they didn't see me over there. They didn't see that I had a camera when I had little small stuff. So I went ahead and ordered a new lens, set it up on a tripod. I'll use that sometimes as bait to get their attention. So I have a 650 to 2600 millimeter super telephoto zoom lens. I put that up on the tripod, and it's about that long, about that big around.
Yeah,
Definitely gets their attention.
So, RC, let me ask you this. We've had many talks amongst us before about the term or the phrase baiting police. So what do you think about that? Because part of the way I feel about it is a lot of people and a lot of the trolls will say that we are baiting police. But the way I look at it, the police should know their policy and procedures well enough to never approach us in the first place. So it's more of a society's view on it that we're baiting them in some instances, versus the cops following their policies and procedures and never taking the bait, so to speak.
And then if you look at Phillip, you look at the Fifth Circuit with Phillip, they called it entrapment.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to get to with the entrapment. They say that we're trying to entrap them. To entrap them, just like anybody else, a regular citizen, for them to be entrapped, they have to not have another option.
Yeah.
We have to put this in front of them. You got to run into this wall. You can't turn. You have no other choice. We're giving them another choice. The choice is follow the law. So
exactly.
Basically, we're doing the exact same thing that they do on their prostitution stings. They have an officer sitting out there dressed up as a prostitute waiting for a John to come along. He has a choice. He can either go along, try to approach that prostitute, or he can follow the law, walk on down the street. We're doing the exact same thing. We're setting our prostitute up, my camera, waiting to see if they take the bait.
No, I agree with you, but I disagree with you in the sense that they should know the law and they're expected to follow the law. So it's not,
right.
We can't even consider it us really doing a sting operation on them, because they are supposed to know good and well that they should not come up to us in the first place.
Yeah, the thing is, what we're doing is perfectly constitutional.
Yes.
The court's already said that what we do, you can't even use it as suspicious. Right?
But also, though,
You can't use it as RAS. But now, if you put a hooker out there, some lady that looks like a hooker, then you're pretty much saying they're doing something. This is something illegal going on here. Well,
but see, also though, it wouldn't be illegal if we did want to conduct stings per se.
Right.
Let's say we wanted to dress a woman up that would look like a hooker, and she walks down the street at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we plan to film that, and we plan to see whether or not police violate her rights as a woman. Okay, 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, in America, she will be harassed, especially if she's got the high heels on and the fishnet stockings, all the telltale signs of a prostitute, according to
is that
police.
what they look like? I never noticed.
But you get what I'm saying at. So for us, that, the people, if anybody listens to this and we publish this, I hope that they know that it is well within our rights to do a sting like that, just to see whether or not her rights are respected as a woman.
Yeah.
I got another question too, with RC. We've had discussions about this also, and we've had some debates on it. And this is just theories, opinions. But you actually have experience. By the way, a lot of us are prior military. I'm 23 years retired Army. BB, Bunny Boots, is a disabled veteran. David Warden, of course, is also a military veteran. He was an MP as well. But with your law enforcement experience, would you say that maybe they have good intentions and they use that status because they want to be a hero? Like they want to, and you probably know what I'm talking about, because in the military, right, hero is kind of a derogatory, like, come here, hero. You know what I mean? Yeah. They call you, that's how we did it in the Army. I think the Marines the same way, but, come here, hero, So do you think there's like a hero status with some cops that just want to prove themselves and be a hero, and maybe they'll overstep bounds to try to maintain a hero status or try to attain a hero status? That's my opinion in some cases. There's also the ego, to where this guy, where they may interact with someone and they may in the back of their minds like, you know what, this citizen might be right, but my ego ain't going to let him get away with that. Yeah. So I'm just going to come up with some disorderly or some stuff to teach him a lesson, which is commonly known as POP, pissing off police, or contempt of cop.
Contempt of cop.
Right. And like this citizen could have been exactly right, but that cop, that ego's too big to be demeaned. So he's going to do that. And I believe that's what happened to me in Birmingham. And then, of course, this is what we're debating is how many are actually ignorant, do not know. And so if you could address those three things, the hero status, the ego, and the ignorance.
I've seen all three different situations. With the younger officers, when I was seeing them coming in, it usually tended to be either ignorance of the laws, they're concentrating on their local policies, what they were told instead of actually researching the law and trying to make a name for themselves. So with the newer officers, I saw both of those. With the older officers, it was more the ego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from, I would say, mostly that ended up starting with sergeants going up. I did see it a few times with some of the corporals. They were more stuck in the middle between still trying to make a name for themselves so they can become a supervisor, and then, well, I've been here long enough, I'm not going to let this guy get away with that. So they got the ego in there too. So all three sides of it I saw while I was wearing the badge.
Oh, okay. All right. Um,
And I've also seen officers that have more than one side to them, where they're trying to make a name for themselves, plus the ego gets in the way. Now, most of the time where I saw that was when you have new officers that were prior military. So you have the transfer, the changeovers, they have the ego side from military, but now they're in a different uniform. Now they're trying to make a name for themselves.
okay. Do you think it's also a problem in many departments where they're so revenue driven that they'll probably know every traffic law in the book, up and downs, backwards and forwards, but they will know nothing about civil rights or individual rights? That's kind of a back burner. That's something, and like I said, this is all theory. I don't know how true, but I'm just telling you my experience, and that seems to be, because I've seen many times where, for instance, if in a lot of these videos, what do they say? They slip up license and insurance to someone walking on the street. I've heard that so many times, and I think a lot of that has to be the revenue generation that's kind of pressed on them,
Well, if I may, I am not military, but I can see the psychological and body language that comes from whether it's an MP or a police officer. And there is that hero mentality, in my opinion, and there is that name recognition. They want to get their name out there. Supposedly, this Eric Ledford who detained me and put me in handcuffs, he was due for a promotion. And I'd like to think that he didn't get his promotion now. So by him using his ego and that hero and name recognition that he may have been seeking, he may have very well cost himself a lot. And police officers can do the same thing. And that's just how I feel about it. I don't have to be military to see how it works. It's all a psychological thing. And when you see that Eric Ledford coming up to me and just demanding that I shut down my camera, shut down your camera, shut down your camera. Do you speak English? Shut down your camera. One more time, shut down your camera. Then he just pulls out his handcuffs. He never got radio confirmation to put me in handcuffs. He did that on his own accord without any advisement from anybody on base, any supervisor or anything. He demanded that I was put in handcuffs, and he did it because of Title 18 of the U.S. Code. Little does he know, because ignorance of the law is his major enemy right there, that wasn't even applicable.
Right.
That was, while I was in the Corps, that was the main tool that was shoved down our throats. That was our main tool to try to prevent anyone from filming base.
Title 18.
Title 18. Yeah.
See, and isn't that a bit sad? Shouldn't he have followed his policies and procedures quite a bit better? Because there are damn near 100 other videos out there of people filming Air Force entries, and there are actually quite a few videos of people rolling right up to the gate with dash cams who have authorization to be on base. Okay, so in any one of these videos that you see, especially the auditors, the First Amendment auditors, they're out there, and what do the airmen do? They call the local PD, and they let the local PD handle it. Not once have you ever seen, or have I ever found, that the airmen will put them in handcuffs for Title 18, not knowing that they're going to give jurisdiction over to Glendale PD. So it was a whole jurisdictional issue over there.
Well, I got a question for RC. When you were an MP and the Title 18 stuff came up, did you know that it was BS to use it that way, or did they try to tell you, or did y'all understand? I mean, did y'all understand that it wasn't applicable, or did y'all believe that it was true?
At the time, no, I did not realize that it didn't apply. We were taught that that's what the law is. We were trained that, you read this title, don't read the sub notes down here at the bottom. You read this title. This says you may not.
Don't read
So
the important part.
Yeah. So that's the way we were trained. You know, if they take a picture, somebody's going to bomb our base, is the mentality that we were trained with.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's towards the end of my career is when I started checking into more of that. And I ended up getting in trouble all the time over that. I was questioning too many things. So I was constantly getting myself in trouble where I would be told one thing and say, wait a minute, that doesn't jive with what I read over here. So that's one of the things that I know is a little different. It's starting to become the same with the other branches, but with the Marine Corps has always been different than the other branches, the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force, in that the other branches are always taught follow orders of your superiors. The Marine Corps, you're taught follow legal orders of your superiors, and you're to question every single order. If you feel that an order is not legal, you not only have the right not to follow it, you have the legal obligation not to follow it as a Marine. So the Marine Corps have always been that way, except when it comes to this type of situation. With this type of situation, they try to brainwash you into thinking this is a legal order, it's Title 18, it's right there in black and white, there's no questioning it. So that always came up as an issue.
Who should be to blame, though? Ledford for his lack of knowledge, or the people who trained him?
The people that trained him.
Yeah.
Well,
And him.
technically both. Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that trained him, but he has an obligation to know the law as well. If he's going to be enforcing laws, he has to know those laws. So it should be on both. It's like, we got into a discussion with one of my viewers over on one of my videos that I just did the other day of the Honolulu Harbor, the security guard there at the harbor. One of the guys sent me an email about why I'm getting on the security guard when I should be going after his supervisors, the people that train them. The security guards, you know, they take a 12-hour, usually one-day class, and they're a guard. They get their guard card here in Hawaii.
That's the video where the guard barely spoke English?
Right. So how I answered his question on that one is I hold both of them responsible. It is the supervisor's responsibility and the people that are training them, but if he's going to stand there and put that badge on and try to enforce these policies, he can't even enforce law, but if he's going to enforce these policies, he needs to know, what the policies actually are and if they violate law or not.
Man, that
So
poor guy
I hold
was
both of them.
That poor guy was so slow. He was even slower than that lady with Todd the other day. God. Numbered in a box of rocks, man.
Well, there was a language barrier. There was a major language barrier, at least. The guy with Todd, at least she spoke English.
Yeah, I usually, if I can speak with them long enough, I can usually get them to see reason, get them to understand. That one just wasn't working. Oh,
So
I'm actually going to...
Even the sixth time wasn't the charm on that one.
Yeah. Sixth time wasn't the charm. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm scheduled to go back there on Monday. I'm going to have probably 3 different cameras set up on that one. I'm going to go ahead and bring out that bait lens. That way to make sure the security sees that I'm zoomed in over on their container ships and everything. But I want to see if the situation, his supervisor was on the radio the whole time this was going on. So they're now aware. The police came, police said, I wasn't doing anything illegal, nothing they could do about it. So now I want to see when I go back on Monday, I know it's going to be a different security officer. Hopefully this one speaks English. I want to see if I run into the same thing again. If the supervisor has now let the others know, okay, we got to stop doing this now, or if they're going to stick with the same policy. So at least hopefully they'll speak English.
All right, well, I got another question for you. As your time with, this goes back to your time as a police officer, and we've had other guys have talked about this many times, and RAS, but the police so often leave out the A. It's just suspicious.
Yeah.
Right? They always seem to want to leave out that made part that makes the whole thing different, reasonable, articulate, and
they have to be able to articulate a specific crime, not just you might commit a crime.
Yeah. And the question is, do you think that most police officers know that and just intentionally leave that part out just to get what they want? Because it's too simple not to, because the problem I see is, one is identification. In most states, like like Texas, you don't have to give your ID unless you've been arrested.
Right.
In other places are different, but a lot of them are the same. All right. And the other part is the RAS. Well, that is something that they have to deal with every day, and I have a hard time believing that most of them don't know that. And I do know that there's a few now that don't actually know it, because I just saw one that was too stupid the other day with Todd. But and I really believe she didn't know what the frick she was talking about. But it's just an everyday thing. How could you not know both of those? So what's your opinion about how many do know?
I do know that there are some that don't really know, but the majority of them intentionally leave that part out.
And that's what I've been told by several other police officers too.
Yeah, they intentionally leave that part out so they can get what they want from you.
Yeah, even if they throw it back in their face and they know what you're talking about, they still do it though. It's like,
here's another thing we're leaving out though, is how many people, are going to say, well, I don't have to do that because you need to articulate what crime is afoot.
Yeah.
Most people are just going to, so they're used to that most of them, their whole career. It's like, here you go. What else can I give you? You want my social? I'll give you that too. Because people think they can talk their way out of something, and that's why I believe both. But you agree, RC?
But when they come to people like us that do know, and we let them know we know, then they need to shut the fuck up and do it right. But then their ego, the power trip get involved.
But then the ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
How many times do they respond though to a call with somebody who's just exercising their First Amendment right?
Not often, but that doesn't make a difference. They still know. So when they do come across, like I said, when they come across somebody like us that we know that they know, because we just told them that we know, and it's a
lack of training, and it's a lack of experience, in my opinion.
It's ego.
Only when they're carrying a camera.
And even then, not all the time.
Yeah.
If they're carrying a camera, they just say, "Oh, I forgot to turn it on."
Yeah.
We lost that one. They got deleted by accident.
And
I finally got tired of them being able to turn my camera off and delete the footage. I've had that happen numerous times.
Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
So now one of the cameras that I'm carrying now is my police body cam. This was the body cam that I wore when I was a constable. The only way this footage can be deleted or altered is when it's connected to my computer here. Until it gets hooked up to my computer, you can't touch the footage on here.
I need one like that, but they can't turn off. That's what I'm looking for, is one that can't turn off.
Yeah,
RC,
that's one thing that's in the works right now. One company's working on one of those models where you turn it on at the beginning of your shift. It doesn't turn off until the end of your shift when it's plugged back into the computer.
Yeah.
do you have the ability to mute that, RC?
No,
Because
I
there's a
have
big
the ability.
Go ahead.
I have the ability. I can hit a push to talk on the side here, and I can have it record voice without ever turning the camera on. But once it's recording everything. I can't stop the audio from it. So with what I was seeing on that video of yours on that arrest, that was edited afterwards. They edited that, they muted the voice out afterwards.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hand movements because that isn't the only bit of body cam footage I have. I have 3 other videos of body cam footage, but it seemed to me that there were hand movements, and then there were also sounds to indicate when and if they muted it. And it could be a part of the redaction from Glendale, but I have to believe from everything I've seen in the body cam footage that I've watched that it was at the officer's discretion to mute it themselves.
And a lot of them they are.
It depends on the brand. There are a couple brands
Right.
out there that will give that option. What did the body cam look like that he had?
So hard to tell. It looked pretty much just like yours. They all look about the same. It was a little more square. It wasn't as elongated as yours, and it didn't have those what appeared to be lights that yours have.
Yeah, that's infrared night vision lights.
Yeah.
So his was more square. Let me.
No, I'm waiting for a call back from the public information officer to find out whether or not they can mute their body cams at their own discretion. And of course, I haven't heard back. Nobody wants to talk to me, from the Glendale PD.
Was it more like that one?
Yeah, it was more like that, but it wasn't that kind. It looked really generic, actually. I mean, it was just basically like a square with a camera on it. It was very generic looking. But
okay,
yeah, we can talk about something else. Then I'll find that out in time. But I just wondered whether or not yours actually had the ability to mute itself. And
no, with the one that I use and what most officers use, we can't mute the sound on them. That's actually a bad thing, having that on there. That takes that accountability out if you're able to block out the sound that way.
But North Carolina now has made it to where their body cam footage is not public record. So couldn't a lot of local municipalities get certain body cameras that allow the officer to mute and unmute at their discretion? Because the body cam footage was kind of installed more for assault victims and stuff like that. And it scares me to think that they might be leading towards a wave to where the officer can mute it, but he has to keep the camera rolling.
Yeah, one of the things that they're actually working on here in Hawaii, they're trying to decide if the officers are going to wear body cams here. We've been trying to get body cams here for a while. What they're wanting to do now, the newest proposal, is they're not going to have any audio. They're going to be video only. So that, we're trying to fight against that one. Then one of the other things they bring up is, okay, we'll go ahead and get the body cams, but we're not releasing the footage to anybody. It's going to be internal only. The whole purpose of the cameras being there is the transparency. So if they take the cameras, take our ability to see what they're doing by taking those cameras away from us, or taking the audio of it away, you completely got rid of the transparency, the whole purpose of them being there. So
why do they want to do that? Because they want to hide what they're doing, people.
Oh, we can't let you see that. It's going to cost us money.
We can't let you. We can't help you prove a case against us.
Yeah. So they're doing another one right now where one of the other ways they're trying to keep from having the cameras is they're using the excuse, well, we don't know what's going to happen with the video. You know, where's the video going to be stored? Who's going to warehouse that? Who's going to have access to it? Who's going to pay for the storage? Are we going to have a third outside party to be able to warehouse and maintain all this footage? So that's a big debate going on here in Hawaii right now. They're using that as a way to not enact getting these body cams.
Yeah, they're going to come up with something. A lot of places are, because they're getting tired of their own videos showing what kind of tyrants a lot of them are.
There's he was mentioning the square camera. That sounds like, and I got to check to see if Glendale's using it. A lot of departments in that area are. It sounds like the camera that's made by Taser International. A lot of the departments in that area went with that particular brand. That one does have the ability to mute. It's built into that one. There's a button right here on the side of it that turns off the camera.
And see, the particular brand is fairly irrelevant. The big question is whether or not these departments, these LEOs, are going to be given discretion on the officer's account to mute that. And if more and more of them are using that brand or a different one, the brand becomes irrelevant. Does that officer have the power to mute it at any time he wants? And it just, it drives me nuts, because I paid $20 for this public record. There was no public record, man. I want a refund. I really do. And I'm going to try my damnedest to get a refund on it, because when I had actually talked to this lady, Nellie, in the public records office, she was very friendly, and I was very nice to her. And she told me that, I don't redact any videos. We make it a point not to redact any videos. And I told her, I go, well, I understand that they may redact it due to critical infrastructure. And I get this video that you saw back from her. And I called her, and I gave her a rash of shit in the kindest manner possible. And she blamed it on somebody else. You know, it's like, fuck.
They
made an exception in your case.
It's me, man, but that looked like a third grader edited that.
Yeah.
The editing.
They kept trying to edit that part of the building out the front gate, but yet they only got part of it part of the time.
I was like, man, it's
as bad as that editing was, there for a while, I couldn't figure out exactly what they were trying to edit out, because it kept moving and there's a building back in. Okay, maybe there's a person over here they're trying to edit. I couldn't figure out what they were trying to block. Yeah,
well, they did a good job then, right? Because we couldn't figure out what the hell they were doing.
But see, they have every right to redact, I guess, the video part. But the part that spooks me out is, why did the audio go missing? You know, did they?
I can hear them. I can hear them now on the part where they muted it. That's all right. This guy won't cooperate with us. He's a fucking jerk. He will not answer our questions. He's being a dick. Let's see how we can fuck him. How do you think we can fuck this guy over?
All humor aside, I think the reason they did it. I think the reason they and yes, I guess it goes to what you say, but the reason they did it is because those muted parts caught things that they did not want the public to hear, and that's where this guy over. How can you call it public record if you're going to censor that public record?
Might be it.
Now, are you going to try to get the original footage for your trial?
I'm going to do everything I can to get that original footage.
Okay.
Anything I got to do to get that original footage. They told me I have to subpoena it. They told me I have to hire an attorney to subpoena it. I've already got an attorney, so it's a public attorney, mind you, but I'm going to do everything I can.
Public
Everything I
pretender.
can. Yep. Well, Oscar Castaneda has been very cool, if he's watching this.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to go ahead and see if we can get the original unredacted version of that.
Well, see,
especially that audio. That audio, I think, is going to be good for your case.
Well, what's funny is I asked for body cam footage from every officer who was there, and I got body cam footage from 3 different officers. I don't know if you noticed or not, but there were at least 6 or 7 Glendale PD surrounding me. They all had body cams, and they are censoring what happened, and I think they're censoring it because they know that something very bad happened to me.
When you take them to court, you should be able to get it all. I'm waiting to see that.
Tuesday,
they drop charges. You can't do nothing.
But according
he sues them.
According to my public attorney, Tuesday morning, I'm going to meet him at 8:30. He's going to do everything he can to make sure I'm very first on the list. We're going to meet with the DA, or the prosecutor rather, and show them the video, show them how I was never once asked to leave, explain to them how the police report contradicts everything that my video evidence does, and it should be pretty simple as far as the prosecutor goes. And if they want to take it all the way, I'm more than prepared to do it. It's going to add a lot of stress to me, but I'm prepared. And if my defender doesn't want to cover me, then I will stand in front of a jury myself, and I will explain and sell this jury on how what I was doing was not wrong. And I don't think it will ever go to that. I think Tuesday I'm going to be able to get everything dismissed, and I'm actually thinking about leaving the courthouse and heading straight to Luke Air Force Base to do a grand finale. To do a grand finale in Arizona before I go back up to Colorado.
Yeah.
Do one of these.
I was wondering if you were going to do that.
And I may have loudmouth Maricopa with me, man, but I appreciate that guy. He travels long distances to come film with me, so I hope that he's there and ready to film when I'm ready to do my grand finale in Arizona for this season.
So when are you guys going to take a vacation and come on over to Hawaii, do some filming over here?
I want to.
His gelato.
As soon as he sends me a ticket, yeah. Well, for me, as is, it's just I got a buddy down there over in Hawaii, but it's hard to time it with his deployments on his ship, and I'm still waiting for him to get back in port so I could ask him if he's been updated on anything going on with your filming down there. So it'll be quite interesting. I'm hoping to get some inside information.
Well, I got a question for RC.
Okay.
Now, when I look at the map, I see that the Hawaiian Islands don't even come close to touching the size of most of the states that I'm used to. So how soon will it be you run out of places to audit?
Good question.
At least next year, if I keep going at the rate I'm at now.
Yeah, like 6 a day.
No, yeah, that 5 a day, that's killing me. I only planned on doing 3 the other day. I swore I was not going to do 5 audits in the same day again. The last time I was up for 40, I believe it was 46 hours straight, trying to do some of the editing after getting back and having to work and then everything. So I swore I'd never do that again. And I planned on doing 3 audits that day. Well, I started out just going to do 1, the airport. While I was there, I decided to do 2 more. And while I was doing them, 2 more.
Well, Silent, this guy's as bad as we've talked before. Like, we're up and we do all this stuff and we're tired as hell and said, well, we're going to go to bed, and then we don't. we'll go answer questions on our, comments or finish up a project. The other night he was in, man, I'm dead. I got to go get some sleep. And said, well, let's end this conversation. And I thought he was going to go get some rest. No, because he would just tell me as soon as the sun comes up, I can't sleep anymore. And it was like 2 hours away. An hour later, I still see he's commenting and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm the same. It's funny because I'm the same way tonight. I busted a nut out there today, and I'm so happy to be talking with all you guys. And it's such a pleasure to meet you, RC, and talk to you because I'm a big fan of yours. Subscribed, all that happy shit. And this is just too cool. Not to mention the fact that I'm stressed out about Tuesday. Yeah. I don't sleep for shit right now until the sun comes up. Or what?
Yeah, I've been watching everybody's videos for a while, and first chance I've actually had to chat with you guys. I've been watching videos for a while. Most of the time, I don't ever post any comments. But I'll watch them and hit the like button. Usually, I don't post any comments. Every once in a while, I'll post one. Every one of these days, I would finally get a chance to get on a video chat with you guys.
Well, yeah, you got to remember, YouTube thrives off of interaction. So if you do want to help your channel grow, the more interaction that you have, the more that YouTube actually promotes your channel. It's just, it's kind of in the algorithm. Bunny Boots, am I right? Or
interaction, and the thing is, I'm big, but it's mainly, my channel isn't really big, but I'm big just due to the fact that I'm interacting and helping people on the back lines all the time and all that stuff. So, in fact, actually, that while I was off the muted, I was actually talking with another activist. So, I mean, I'm always getting called on to do all kinds of stuff, and I help out where I can, trying to move information.
But the more you can interact on YouTube and send comments and leave likes and all that shit, that YouTube actually kind of recognize that, I think, and kind of helps to push you up in the community, the YouTube community.
Well, how should I put it?
I don't know.
It's not. It's mainly that interaction sort of helps you get started. And then the growth, once you reach a certain point, that kind of interaction becomes really difficult to do, just due to the fact that you have so many people that will sit there and pop on and put in comments and all that stuff. And I'm not sure really how you would deal with going past a certain point. But once you get to the point where you're so big and you got so much piling in, it comes, okay, well, I can only communicate with so many people and all that stuff. But most of my interactions and stuff isn't too much within my own comments, but is talking with other people that are either interested to get involved in or talking with people that are active in some form or way in similar stuff or has an interest of what is going on, trying to become informed on the stuff that's happening.
Have any of you guys ever advertised a video on YouTube?
No.
Nope.
No.
I'd like to see how that might work, because when I get this dismissed, I plan on doing a rather extensive little video. It probably only be a half hour long, but I'm going to kind of throw everything that I've got, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the software. I might even hire somebody to do it, kind of thing, just to make an awesome video of how this was dismissed in a documentary style. And I want to advertise it to where as many people as possible can see it. All right, what do you guys think about that?
I think you can do that, and we can help you promote it too.
Yeah.
Right, but I actually want to advertise it to where I have more of a chance of just having 1 million people see this thing within, let's say, even a year's time. And that's kind of weak, but
I don't know what the charges are.
I'm so disappointed with how everything was handled in this case of mine, and I want to exploit them to the fullest, and I really want to make the world aware the best I can.
Well,
I've got friends all over the world that I know will help promote me through their countries, but I want to really just hit them hard with this.
Well, and if you go to court and you sue them, you might and win, which I think you probably would, but how much I don't know. But if you win enough, you could maybe use some of that to pay for the advertising, like you're talking about.
Well, from what I hear, the advertising's fairly cheap. I just wondered if you guys knew anything about that.
I was going to say, it's actually getting cheaper on certain groups of channels. I could probably give you a listing of, figure out which words are being used as marked as controversial and stuff like that, where they're taking away monetization. And then what you could do is advertise the video on that for a really low price, just due to the fact that nobody wants to advertise on those issue keywords or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And people, the thing is, I mean, people that have those kinds of ads run will be eating it up because they're like, yay, someone's actually wanting to actually run advertisements on this such and such issue or whatever. So.
Right. Thank you.
Well, something I think I would like to do with this video is I'm going to put the whole thing up on my secondary, which is the in-depth, the PNP in-depth. And I'm going to take like a 3 to 5 minute section of it, probably a part where I'm asking a question to RC and he's answering back. And if each one of y'all want to do that, when you're like silent, when you're talking to him and he answers back, or Bama or Bunny, and if you don't like one of those, you know, pick a 5 minute section or 3 minute section out of it and put it up on your channel, and to introduce him to your subscribers. Even though we all know that we have a lot of the same subscribers, you have some that aren't too. So you're welcome to do that if you want to. That's all up to y'all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, main reason why I sort of stumbled upon him actually was someone saw his video, I think, and threw it up on Reddit there. And we've been enjoying the Hawaii video series that's been going on so far.
My only problem is they're too long.
I'm trying to play auditor and tour guide all at once.
Well, you're kind of the new kid on the block, but your narratives are a bit long as far as the viewers are concerned, and I know you've seen all those comments. People, unfortunately, the people that watch these First Amendment audits, they want to see action. And that it saddens me to a degree, but I know that that's what they want to see. They don't want to see 20 minutes of standing outside the airport. You know, some of them do, I guess, but the majority of people that look at First Amendment audits, they want to see somebody getting arrested or cops getting owned by a citizen, and it's kind of sad that that's how it works, but it's a fact.
Yeah, and I think we all agreed at one time or another when we give criticism to somebody, especially somebody new, in the long run, it's still all up to you. It's friendly criticism, nothing else, you know. But it's all up to the individual. Just like we tell them how a person does an audit. It's up to them. If they want to talk, they can talk. If they want to be silent, they can be silent.
But you look at some of the biggest names in the game. I think find a bigger one than Tom Zebra. You know, Tom Zebra is always at some crime scene, and they're seeing action in his videos. And there's a big reason why he's got 70,000 subscribers or 69,000 or whatever the hell he's got. But
is he up that high already? I haven't checked. Because he had about that much before his prior channel, Daniel Solomon, got shut down. Yeah,
I want to say he's at 69,000. Don't quote me on that, but he's definitely in the 60,000 range.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, David from News Now Houston's getting up there. Not that high, but man, he's gaining quickly.
Well,
30-something.
He's getting like 1,000 a month or more.
Well, I was having fun because after my visit down there in Texas, I was poking fun at him, and I was poking fun at Jeff there. It's like, watch it, Jeff. News Now is going to outpace you here in about a year and a half. He's going to be bigger than you.
Yeah. If he keeps going like he is, he will.
And see, the only reason I put emphasis on the channel strength there, RC, is because if you want to spread the message, there's psychological tactics involved with doing it. And, you know, to gain those viral videos, it's like they want to see action, man. I started posting some of my updates, you know, with like the paperwork and shit like that, and there's been no growth. I'm so happy to do it, but it's just something I realized. So I'm just really throwing out observations at this point. You're kind of new to the YouTube scene, and I'm just kind of giving you some of my experience from it.
Yeah, I just looked.
Yeah.
He's at 39,000.
Yeah,
Wait, time
just
zero?
pulling that up myself.
Ah,
Yeah.
fuck.
39,319.
God damn it. There's someone who's at 60. Damn it.
Yeah.
Like Gavin Seam. I don't know how the hell Gavin Seam has so many followers. He's in the 100 range. You guys will look it up and tell me he's at like 40, but
He's all about, he does the ideology stuff with his, though.
Yeah, he's very ideological when it comes to his videos. So he's sort of tapping two different things at the same time.
well, I lost all credibility when I said he was in the 60s. Carry on.
Nobody believed you in the first place.
Right.
Gavin Seam, he's at 127,000. So
I am just ecstatic that I hit 1,000.
I remember that day. And I remember when I had the first million views. The first million views, I go, wow.
And I'm gonna make this statement for anybody that wants to. I have that feeling. I'm YouTube famous kind of thing. I hit 1,000. All you got to do is go out there and do these First Amendment audits and tests and stuff like that for about 3 months. You'll be at 1,000 within 3 months if you do one at least once a week.
Just realize
close to true.
Just realize if you become a YouTube auditor, you will never be a YouTube millionaire.
Yeah, I went from less than 100 to 1,000 in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Nobody was watching them, and then as soon as that Pearl Harbor one went up, boom.
Yeah.
See, but that had a lot to do with the title, because Pearl Harbor is a pretty touchy topic there, and you put First Amendment audit in front of Pearl Harbor, bam.
It also had a lot to do with two assholes wearing badges.
Yeah.
Well, the Wheeler one right before it, we actually had more assholes and badges, but less views to that one.
It's interesting to me what people want to watch. You know, that my two biggest videos are when I got arrested at the Luke Air Force Base. That one's got like just a bit over 84,000 views within a month's time. And then my Phoenix arrest, or my Phoenix detainment rather, that one's got 114,000 plus views right now. And that one wasn't even as exciting as the Luke Air Force Base one. So I don't even understand it. They put me in fucking handcuffs. They let me go. I made a second and third part of it, and that one is still my most famous video. I imagine maybe 2 months from now, my Air Force Base will trump that one, but it's just so interesting.
I know part of the reason why. I know exactly. It's because
We'll get you, Bama.
Yeah, we'll get you. It's because, on Reddit, there's two different groups with similar names. One's called Am I Free to Go? That's pro-civil rights and stuff like that, about people standing up for their rights. And then there's Am I Being Detained, which is designed to make fun of sovereign citizens. And what's funny is quite often our First Amendment audit videos and stuff like that hop onto that one. And when they sit there and throw it on that one, even though it's a smaller subreddit, it gets a lot more traction. People go back and rewatch a lot of those videos over and over, so this way they can pull up more arguments and stuff like that and laugh at it. And they share it 100 times more, because there's a lot of officers or bootlickers and stuff like that that are in there too. And so that's pretty much why, because I've seen a few of your videos get thrown in there.
I've seen you put a few of my videos in there. Not in the sovereign citizens getting owned, but
yeah, the Am I Free to Go? And yeah, that's actually part of the other stuff I do behind the scenes. Like, I mean, with Honolulu, as soon as first his one or two videos ended up in there, I made sure to subscribe to him, and then if I catch it or if I have time to look at people's videos and see it, I'll throw it in there, and that gets a lot of people traction right there. It's like, oh, there's someone else that's out there doing this stuff. Oh, even though it's a pastor or whatever, I might as well watch it and hear what he's got to say or whatever. I mean, that's what happens with quite a few videos, especially for new activists. Yeah,
Bama?
Bama.
yeah. This is growing. So go ahead, Bama.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, if anybody's listening, y'all check that out. Anybody that doesn't know about it, check out on Reddit, Am I Free to Go? I just want to pass that along. Everybody should check that out.
Well, I still cannot make sense out of some of the videos. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. What I was going to say was, I know what you're saying, because most people would think my Wetumpka video would have the most views, but it doesn't. It's when I was with Jeff doing the National Guard Armory. That's hitting close to that's about 90,000. And the one in Wetumpka is hovering around 80, right at 80 maybe, something like that. So that is kind of weird how that works.
Well, I got 2 videos, and I'm not going to mention which ones they are. They weren't that interesting. But there was a little something in each one of them that got people attention. Every email, every day I get emails with all the comments from all my videos. So I can look in my email and I don't have to go over to the YouTube. And if I see something, then I'll go to YouTube and make my comment. I've got 2 videos that are still kicking ass that to me should not still be kicking ass. And they get as many comments on those as the rest of them combined. Unless it's a new one, a brand new one that's really got somebody's attention. But once everything kind of evens out, those 2 kick ass, and I don't know why. This doesn't make any sense to me, but I'll take it.
I know a big reason that the Luke Air Force Base and my Phoenix arrest kicked ass was because of PINAC. I know they were a contributing factor in that because they did an article on each of those incidents. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the other things. Since I talk with PINAC all the time, I do story digs for them, and if I see something that's big enough and hasn't gotten attention yet, I just go, "Hey guys, check this out. This is big. Hasn't been seen yet." And if they have the writers available, they'll try to do a story on it. But as it is now, we got so many people out there, so much new content being generated every single week. Even I don't have the time to watch it all. I would love to sit down and just be able to watch all this new content and stuff like that, write up stories and stuff like that for people, or do something to promote their work and all that. But I just don't have the time with all the other stuff I got to deal with.
Well, and you've got other goals though, as far as that's concerned, also.
Oh yeah.
Your time is very, very valuably spent, from what I've seen, man, with your dedication to city council meetings and all that shit.
Yeah, I think nobody doubts that. We've seen him, what he does behind the scenes and in front of the scenes too.
Well, that city council thing is not done yet, so there's still one more meeting, and they said they're going to try to kill it, but we'll find out if they kill it at this next meeting.
Be interesting.
I have another, well, it's not really a question. It's just something that I want to talk to RC about. And that is 2 things is myths and then culture. And the myths I'm talking about is the perception that society has for whatever, but in this instance, we're talking about filming in public, photography in public. And society seems to reflect that, you can't do it or whatever, because society is in this mind frame of the early 2000s, the 90s, to where most people that were videoing in public was doing it for commercial reasons, and that weaved its way into society to somehow think you just can't film people in public. But you can if it's non-commercial, as we all know. And so somehow that bled into the police department, and they carried on this myth over the decades. Over the past 2 decades at least. Do you think that kind of gets its way in with police sometimes? Or should they? Yeah.
I think that has some to do with it. You have, especially with the newer police officers now, ones that are going in now, were coming up during that time. That was as they were growing up, so they were learning that. I think that has a lot to do with their perceptions to everything else.
Okay, and these urban legends then follow the myths. I guess that's part of it, is these urban legends where let me give you a quote here. There's there's a terrorist act, whereas you cannot film federal buildings. That's a quote.
I spit soda all over my monitor when I heard him say that. I could not believe that cop said that.
Obviously, we have Homeland Security Bulletin 012-2010 that just squashes that. But anyway,
I carry that with me every day.
Right. I think a lot of times these myths, these urban legends that are in society that should have no part when it comes to law enforcement, it works its way in there somehow. And I think that there needs to be a big line actually, when it comes to those things, when it comes to law enforcement. And I don't think it's really happening. I don't know why it's that way.
I have to jump in there, and the reason it is that way is because they, as a system, as a corporation, the United States of America, the corporation, has created a them against us mentality. And that's the same reason why when this Officer Vasquez pulled up to me, I asked him, "Are you filming, officer? I will be in a bit. Please start." First off, don't tell me what to do. Right then and there, he's gotten him against me mentality. He is not looking to serve me as a citizen. He is not looking to protect and serve. He is looking out for his own interests. And that remains true through most of government now. It is an us against them kind of mentality. And it seems to reign truer with the people that do come back from Iraq and Afghanistan, because when they're over there in Iraq and Afghanistan, they are in fear for their lives most of the time, and I can understand that. But then they come back here, and you make that man a police officer, he's going to be cruising the streets the same way with that same mentality, thinking there might be a fucking IED right around the corner. You know, that anybody I stop might have a fucking heroin needle, infected heroin needle they're going to stab me with. It's an us against them mentality. Is that it's the reason for all of what you just talked about.
Put somebody like that in power, because I can tell you straight up, when I was in Iraq, for instance, with filming, right? You saw a camcorder, okay, IED, look for an IED somewhere, whatever, right? My mentality is, I'm not in freaking Iraq. I'm in America, right? America and Iraq is two totally different places. We have a constitution. We have natural rights expressed in that constitution. And until you say that law, or something, if that changes or whatever, but it can't. Okay, we're not under martial law. We're not in that. A lot of veterans understand that. That's why you see a lot of us doing this. But you put someone like that in a powerful position that has their mindset still over there, that is dangerous. You're right.
Well, so now let's talk about how RC, you talked about how when you're in there and they taught you about Title 18, they didn't teach you about the subsections of Title 18. They taught you about the basics of Title 18. Okay?
Right.
So let's say that you leave the Marines and you come back here to be a police officer, and they tell you, oh, you got you got all these statutes. You just need to know the basics of the statutes. You don't need to read the subsections of those statutes. And
that's what the lawyers are for. They deal with all the subsections.
And that's how the officers look at it, right?
Right.
Sad. It's fucking sad, because it becomes a lack of education on all of the system's government employees. And there's, even though on News Now Houston's case, where he was in Missouri City, Texas, he told them very well, 3802, he explained it to them. The one sergeant or whatever he was opened up the book. He actually opened up the book and read 3802 and could not understand
and still didn't get it.
Come on, man. What the fuck is going on? And News Now Houston asked them both, did you guys go through updated training for photographers on the sidewalk? They both said yes. So what the fuck? What kind of lack of communication is going on here? It pisses me off, man. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I saw that. So see him sit there and read the law. Okay, so you got to give it to me. It says right there, you got to give it to me.
Come on.
I'm still surprised that one actually hasn't had a privacy complaint lodged against it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, supposedly that beeswax or whatever the hell that guy's name was, he was either suspended or fired. I can't confirm any of that. That's all hearsay. But apparently he did suffer some form of disciplinary action for that lack of knowledge.
Got moved to a different position.
There you go. So
hopefully it doesn't deal with internal investigation since he doesn't really know much.
Hey, one more thing I wanted to add with the myth though was there's also this whole embodiment of culture, which that's fine. Okay, that's society. But as a law enforcement officer, you cannot take that culture and twist it to what you want the law to be. And I think I see that a lot too. If you notice, certain police departments, I'm not going to mention names, but certain police departments seem to think that anything, and this is one example, that anyone outside their municipality does not matter. If someone's concerned and they have an inquiry about what happened to someone out, for instance, if someone from New York is interested in what a municipality police department did to an individual, and someone from New York wants to make an inquiry about it, they have every right to. But there is this thing going on, and I don't know if it's a Southern thing or what. I think it's to the 10th power in the South, in my personal opinion.
well, so
they have their own little community, and you're an outsider. You don't know what goes on here. You're way over there. You don't matter.
Let's talk about this.
What you're saying is, when those people died on 9/11, people in Alabama they shouldn't be concerned about what happened up there. As an example. So I think that is another big problem is the local culture or whatever. I think it gets in some police. I'm not saying all, but it gets into police departments, and then they twist that culture to meet what they think the law should be, instead of just going by the law. And I think that's a problem too. And that's just one example. Is where they, you're an outsider. You don't matter. You don't live here. So
let's talk about that community a little bit. And I just found out because I've been studying this body cam footage, and it's so hard to hear some of this shit. But on a different set of body cam footage that I got, Staff Sergeant Ledford asked the field training officer Fernandez if I was going to be reported to ACTIC. Do any of you know what ACTIC is?
ACTIC? I have no clue.
Anti-terrorism, terrorism, or Anti-Counterterrorism Information Center. ACTIC, ACTIC. ACTIC AZ.
I was in for
Anti-Counterterrorism Information Center. Ledford asked Fernandez from the Glendale PD if I was going to be reported to ACTIC. And so Fernandez told Ledford, "Oh yeah, I'll definitely be sending an email to ACTIC to let him know who he is and blah blah blah."
That is Arizona counterterrorism.
Yeah. Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center.
Yeah. Ain't that some shit? So that's the community. So as far as the Arizona community goes, now I'm listed on the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center.
Oh, that's a fusion
You're a
center.
terrorist.
Hey!
Yeah, it's their version of the Fusion Center.
But does that not coincide with the community and what they're wanting to do? And if you look on that ACTIC site, they list what is suspicious or something along the lines of like, what do you look for? I think is how they word it.
Yep. What
to look for?
I'm looking at it now.
Read the first one. Read the first one on there, RC. Or
surveillance, recording, or monitoring activities may include the use of cameras, note-taking, drawing, diagrams, or maps. We're terrorists, according to this.
Wait. So this means I need to get a painter's easel, set up whatever the hell it's called, and start painting the entrance. So this way I can be a terrorist also on that end.
Apparently that's what you look for. Apparently that's what to look for if you're trying to find a terrorist. You look for an easel with a painter.
Yeah, so put on my Kajabi outfit, go out there, go, this looks nice. Let's see, use this color, talk into a camera, just like the one famous painter guy that does all those introductions on how to do painting and all that stuff.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross, just Bob Ross into the camera. Let's see here. Oh,
I think we just showed our age.
Boy, this has got BB written all over it. Vicious person out of place. Okay, you wear your little uniform there. Job or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking at it too. You're looking at it too, Bama.
Aviation activity. With the truck.
Oh yeah,
Test of security.
Oh,
the second one. The second one here is test of security.
Yep.
Attempts to measure reaction times to security, penetrate physical security barriers, monitor procedures, and assess security.
So I guess I'm a terrorist because I definitely got a clear time of how long it took for Luke Air Force Base to react.
Yep, you tested her reaction time.
Fuck me, man.
You know,
I mean, this could apply to anybody, man.
Yeah, and the thing is when I'm walking around, I just have this mentality. I've always had it. It's just like I've always had what can go wrong in my mind kind of thing, because I live in an earthquake-prone area. Big one hits, you got to look for the the best place you want to be at in order to avoid having stuff fall on you. And so I always try to keep that kind of stuff in mind, but also it goes to like security-minded things. It's like I just sit there. It's like, well, what could possibly go wrong with the security here? And I sort of end up getting that from when I was in the military. When you're just sitting there, it's like, okay, what possible ways could someone get in here? And you sit there and you look and assess what ways of improving and stuff like that, or ways that it's not being handled properly.
What's funny is I could have probably hopped the wall at multiple different points. And I could have been walking around the base, taking pictures and all that shit. Somebody just today actually forwarded me an email through Maricopa, and I used a alternate email of Ledford from his Facebook page. Ledford actually taking video while he's on the base during a rainy day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Go figure.
All right, guys. I'm going to turn the recording off. I'm going to get to something I don't want recorded.
Okay.
So, hang on. See, that was going to be my question, my parting question for RC was, what is your response or your thoughts about in this day and age? Which y'all just stole my thunder.
Oh, I hear that one all the time. I am so sick of that. You know, this day and age, in these times we're living in now.
You've got to understand in this day and age, right? You understand?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but one thing that a lot of them also will bring up, which I haven't got on any of my recent videos, but videos before I started posting on YouTube, I would get this one up a lot whenever I would bring up the Constitution. Well, that was written over 200 years ago. It wasn't for these times.
Yeah.
The Constitution is a living, breathing document. It doesn't die. It's still alive today. You know, the stuff that we're seeing going through now is very similar to what they were going through in the 1700s. You know, they were going through the same type of tyranny.
Understand.
Right. Yeah. They were going through the same type of tyranny that we're having now. That's why they put the Constitution and these amendments in place to try to govern the government.
And let's take it further.
It's always been this day and age.
Well, let's take it further. The Constitution, live and breathe the document, and they keep bringing up terrorism this day and age, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, not only do we have the Constitution, we also have so much case law, and we have Homeland Security Bulletin that reinforces this right. And how they don't do that, you know,
Yeah.
we are more protected now. See, back then they didn't really have, you know, for instance, when the Constitution was written, what was one of the first violations? The Alien Sedition Act, which repressed free speech. You know, you had the Alien Sedition Act. We don't even have that. We have more protection. We have specific protection through case law, through Homeland Security Bulletin, and it's still there's no excuse.
Well, hold on. I got to ask you guys this then, especially you, RC. I've talked with these other guys about this, but I have a great friend who you can call a constitutionalist or more of just a living man, rather. And he believes that the Constitution was fractured when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated because that was a constitution under his presidency. And I have seen multiple cases of how certain people abide by different years' Constitution because there was once a time where the United States Constitution didn't have all capital letters. And when the United States Constitution did turn into all capital letters, that was them starting to operate as a corporation. And that's the only time you ever see someone operating under all capital letters is when they are operating as a corporation. Do you have anything you think or know about that, RC?
Oh, I'm going to have to research that one.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah. I've never run into that yet. I've been approached by a few of those individuals lately, and they're let me know a little more about why they believe certain things, about the capitalizing the names and all that. The ones that I was approached by, they do claim to be sovereign citizens. They are proud to call themselves sovereign citizens. Now, I am not a sovereign citizen. I don't have anything for or against them. I mean, everybody has their own beliefs. I believe myself to be more of a true Republican, what the Republican Party started as, which is closer to what the Constitutionalists are at now.
What is your reasoning or thoughts behind the fact that the Constitution was not all caps at one point, and then all of a sudden it did become all capital letters? There was a revisement there, basically, wasn't there?
That's the part I'm going to have to do some research on to find out when exactly that happened and why, if there was any actual reasoning for that, or if it was just to make it look better, having the title all capitalized.
Yeah, well, typically when you see anything under all capitalized, they're operating as a corporation, and this is a whole nother show that we could get into, or a whole nother topic. And Steve, I'm sure, will edit some of this out. He's telling me to diet. He's telling me to diet down. But it is a very interesting point, because what is the Constitution as we know it is basically the question. Is it a certain year's Constitution that some abide by, or some abide by, like the Constitution of 1789, some abide by the very first Constitution that was written. The Constitution has been revised multiple times. So which one do you follow? And at what point can you acknowledge or even begin to think that when they turned it into all capital letters, that it turned into a corporation?
What you doing there, Bunny?
I
What's
just
going on
found
here?
something on the ACTA thing that Silent Citizen was talking about. Dramatization. I just love how they put it there.
That looks like me in Maricopa.
I just had to flash this up there real fast.
Good. Maybe it'll help us change topics.
Well, no, okay, let's change topics. But first, I would like to hear. RC has acknowledged that he would like to do more research on it, and I've talked to you, Steve, about it plenty of times. Bama or Bunny Boots? Bama first, preferably. Do you guys
all
have
the
any?
right to remain silent?
Do you guys have any? Do you guys have any thoughts on the fact that the Constitution has been revised a few times, and when it did turn into all capital letters, that they did start operating as a corporation?
Has it been revised since the original Constitution was written? That's stored.
When Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, the Constitution was basically fractured, under my friend's opinion. I'm just going off of what I hear, so I'd love to hear your opinions on it.
From what I understand, it was just an amendment was added.
But why was it changed from upper and lowercase to all uppercase letters?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know nothing about that, to be honest with you. I just know about the original document.
Bunny Boots?
Yeah, you want my opinion on this? You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And the thing is I use whatever weapons that they use. So if they're using the current, whatever they're using currently, I'm going to use that exact same thing back at them.
Yeah.
And so that's my position. And the thing is there's been many kinds of different things. If you look in the past that have sneaked their way in there, like a corporate personhood, or how the current income tax system is put into play and all that stuff. Those things have been put in there and wiggled their way in through all kinds of little underhanded schemes. But the thing is now they're established law to some extent in some form or fashion. And so as is, if it's a sort of established already in some form or way, I'm going to use that as to support myself and against them if they try to use that exact same thing against me.
But can you agree, Bunny Boots, that they are operating as multiple and different corporations? Because you brought the IRS into it. Is the IRS not its own corporation?
All I see it is an agency. And the thing is I play by the rules of where